This is how diabetes is linked with hypertension. When you have diabetes, it is often the case that you have insulin resistance. But insulin resistance leads to obesity and arteriosclerosis, which is the hardening of arteries. And then insulin resistance also leads to the weakening of kidney in such a way that kidney cannot handle sodium as well as before. All this leads to more serious hypertension. So insulin resistance is the key in the linkage between hypertension and diabetes. Now I will tell you how hypertension and diabetes worsen each other. As I explained before, diabetes is often linked with insulin resistance, which is also the cause of obesity, arteriosclerosis, and weakening of kidney that leads to hypertension. But vicious cycle doesn't stop there. When a person has hypertension, they are often told to take a variety of hypertension drugs, but the hypertension drugs they are taking to control hypertension worsens insulin resistance and worsens arteriosclerosis, and it worsens the weakening of kidney. Therefore, the hypertension drugs people take to control hypertension worsens the vicious cycle between the diabetes and the hypertension. So it becomes very difficult to control or cure either one of these diseases. By now it becomes obvious that there is a linkage between diabetes and hypertension, and there exists a vicious cycle that worsens each other, but that's not the end of it. All those sugar and salt in artificial foods and processed foods and fast food chain foods, they worsen each other because they trigger the hungers and cravings for each other, and then they also contribute to the obesity, arteriosclerosis, and weakening of kidney, and these all lead to furthering the vicious cycle between hypertension and diabetes. Now, we all know that as long as we rely on these pharmaceutical drugs to control hypertension, there's no way out of this vicious cycle between hypertension and diabetes. It just worsens each other. But if we begin to use such natural treatment like DASH, P700, LBM, exercise, and acupressure, a beautiful thing happens in the form of cutting the linkages between all these vicious cycles. The linkage between insulin resistance and obesity is cut, and linkages between insulin resistance and weakening of kidney is cut, and insulin resistance itself is removed. Therefore, we can expect the improvement in general health situation of patients.